Were you surprised to see this backcourt evolving to be as good of a defensive tandem as they've been?
For sure, and I think, I've been as wrong about that as anyone because, everything that I think we saw the first month of the season screamed that this was gonna be an issue all year, all the way back to Villanova, where it was just, a kind of ISO bully ball, back them down, back to the strategy of Pittsburgh from previous years. So it looked like that was going to be how teams attacked UNC. And I think the biggest thing, honestly, and someone else in the chat said it, shout out to 828 Lawson, but Armando has become a valid, super, I don't want to say super, but a really good rim protector. When Jalen Washington's in the game, he has his faults as far as lateral movement and helping off of screens and switching. But there's one thing you can count on is that he's going to be able to swat something. And same thing with Jalen Withers. So they have more rim protection than I think they've had in the past. I think that helps a ton. And to your point about it not looking like a smothering defense, honestly, I think it's a bit of our eyes tricking us because the guards are diminutive, so to speak. There's not the super athletic, rangy person you typically associate with lockdown
Right.
defense. You usually think of guys from Arkansas and Alabama who can jump out of the gym, who are muscular, who are just solid athletes. Those are the kind of people that you, in your mind, are like, oh, that's a good defender. When you look at RJ Davis and Elliot Cadeau, you're like, oh, those are offensive players. So I think they've done a great job of just being solid. You don't have to be great. You don't have to be an amazing defender. You just have to be solid. And they're guarding as a team. That's really the biggest thing. Guarding as a team, and then the fact that when they do funnel guys into the middle, Armando's done a great job. Whether it's switching off and staying with guards, he pulled a Kevin Love against Steph Curry in the finals there against Florida State on a couple of possessions where he stepped out and the guard really couldn't get by him and forced a
Couldn't
bad
do anything.
shot.
Hmm.
Yeah, so to me, that's the biggest thing is Armando's rim protection, and then again, the fact that they're playing together as a team and the defense is moving and they're talking.
Appreciate everybody watching us live. This is Coast to Coast podcast for InsideCarolina.com. Sherrell, I'm not going to let you not going to let you back out of the conversation just yet because I think one of the things, and we talked about it in the post game on Saturday with Tommy and John Bauman. One of the things I think is helping this squad is you've got a player like Seth Trimble who is demanding playing time with his ability to defend, his ability to get to the rim, and he's good for a couple of baskets each game. His demand and him forcing the staff to play him is giving UNC an ability to rest RJ Davis and rest Elliot Cadeau, and I think that matters in end of game situation. Do you feel like that's something that can be relied upon as the year goes on? And also, do you feel like it's somewhat contagious when you've got Seth pushing those guys for time when it's really he's just coming in and triggering because he's going to be a defensive dog?
I think defense is very similar to moving the ball and the ball not sticking. Is that when you see other people doing it, it makes you want to do it more. And I think a lot of that begins with Cormac Ryan on the offense on the defensive side. The fact that while again he's not he doesn't look like what you think a great defender looks like, but he is a really good defender. Um, he's able to fight through screens. He kind of stays in front of his man most of the time. So I think that's one. And then two, yes, I mean Seth Trimble. No disrespect to Davis and Cadeau, but he's a better defender than them. And so I think when they are able to come out of the game and you get Seth, and not to toot our own horns, but we talked about it in the preseason, when you kind of sick Seth on him like a junkyard dog and say, get up in him, make him frustrated, make him not comfortable, then that, it allows, I think, for RJ Davis and Elliot Cadeau to get that break that helps their offense, but it also makes them want to guard too. So the things that they're doing are all infectious. It permeates through the locker room, whatever word or verb you want to use, I think is what you're seeing with UNC from Cadeau's passing to Armando's role acceptance to Cormac Ryan's vocal leadership. It all is working together.
Sean, how can somebody who's watching the game that maybe is not used to watching team defense, what are some things they can look for? I mean, Sherrell alluded to Armando Bacot's ability now to become a more efficient rim protector. You talk about the fact that he's become a great or a very good defender. What are some things people can watch in the flow of a game to see what team defense looks like?
I think just saying on the Armando front, I know this was called out on Twitter a while ago, but if you think if you think there's going to be a mismatch, you most likely think, hey, it's getting a quick guard on Armando, most likely. And what you're seeing when he's in these spot up situations or these defensive situations, he's been playing like one of the best players in the country. So, for a guy his size and his strength to be keeping guys in front of him, challenging the shots. But Joey, from a team defense, I think once again it's stop trying to watch all five guys on the floor, but from a man to man, once the guy gets the ball, how is he being defended? And on that first pass that's being made, once there's an attack, how is UNC? I feel in years past, they've always been slow on the rotations on the help side, and all of a sudden you do 2, 3, 4 passes, and you're going to have a wide open shot. I think you're not seeing that because they're not letting it get to those 3, 4 passes, but they're able to keep their man in front of them, and then they're able to rotate quickly and cut everything off. So it's not really continuity that's going on. And then also in transition, I think that's been a big key, especially from the larger perspective of just scoring more points than the opposition when they're playing so well from a transition perspective of challenging shots, but also keeping people out and making it tough to defend. All that I think leads into things that are watchable. So I would say in transition, just watching how UNC has been getting back on defense, but then from the man-to-man perspective, just watching how each individual is really not getting beat, and if they are, for the most part, there's been some good help side and good rotations that have been made.
Joey, I
What?
wanted to add to Joey when you talk
Yeah.
about Armando on the switches. I think what people realize you don't have to guard your man on a switch for 13 seconds or 15 seconds. Usually it's towards the end of the shot clock, or it's a situation where they're not going to dribble the shot clock out and try to go ISO the entire possession. So on the switches, all you need from Armando is 4 or 5 good seconds of defense, and to get the ball out of the guard's hands, and then the defense can reset. So I think he's done a good job of just surviving those 4 or 5 seconds and allowing everything to start over.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be one of the things the coaches are telling them is like, go defend for 5 seconds. Anybody can defend for 5 seconds, right? We're not asking you to play a full shot clock. And then back to what Sean was talking about, if folks want to see a good example of what good help defense looks like, you're rotating over, dropping down, recognition when somebody's about to get beat. One of the biggest plays of the game was Harrison Ingram's block at the end. And Florida State, as they're wont to do because they're so rangy and so athletic, are willing to try to attack on the dribble UNC's smaller guards. UNC was backpedaling fairly well, but Harrison Ingram just drops across the lane and knocks a ball out of the sky. And I think that's just the recognition that Sean was pointing to a second ago, that North Carolina has not had in the past, of just understanding where do you need to be if XYZ breaks down.
Yeah.
Let's stay with Bacot a second, Sean. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I think this goes back to the larger theme of team chemistry and getting guys in that are high IQ basketball players. Because I think one that just helps from when everybody's on the court, but then I think it permeates, across the other players. So I think you've seen guys talking more. I think you've seen guys now willing to buy in and really playing together, whether that's offensively or defensively. So I think that in a large part has helped this team get to where they are. Just that change in demeanor as well.